Good afternoon, welcome to NMS. Let's talk about your metabolism for a second and we'll explain a few things of what you need to know about your metabolic rate so that you can understand what happens when you do different things with your diet and with exercise. Okay, so number one rule, the more food you eat, the faster your metabolism. Now that doesn't mean that you eat a lot of food and you burn a lot of calories and you'll never be fat, because if you obviously eat a lot more food than your body can cope with, yes, your metabolism is elevated, but you're eating more calories than your metabolism. Now, fact number two, when you reduce your calories, your metabolism drops, okay? So the less food you eat, the slower your metabolism. Now, people will say, yeah, but how come you lose weight? Well, at the beginning, you'll lose weight, and then eventually you'll stop losing weight, right? Once your body is torn through the muscle that it's going to tear through, and it's going to burn some fat, but eventually it's going to go into, for want of a better word, survival mode. Okay, so these are two extremes of situations, and obviously we've got to sort of work somewhere in between the two. So your body doesn't like to be on a diet, but if you overeat, you're going to put body fat on. Okay, so what do? We exercise. Now, what does exercise do? Exercise burns more calories, which means we can eat more, which means that our total daily energy expenditure is higher than our basal metabolic rate, which means we burn more calories and we can eat more food. Now, when you do exercise, there is muscle retention because you're now using your muscles. So how do we go and speed up our metabolism even more? Well, now we can start doing more exercise, but doing resistance training. Now, by doing resistance training, okay, not only are you going to hold on to some muscle, but if you're a beginning level sort of lifter, you're probably going to add some muscle even during a fat loss phase, which means that you're going to burn more calories, okay? Because technically speaking, when you've got a large amount of body fat to lose, you're carrying a lot of calories, you're not really in a deficit because you're carrying excess calories on your body. So you're not going to be too worried about putting on some extra muscle, okay? So in order to go and burn more calories, we do more activity. That means we could be doing walking, we could be doing controlled exercise, we could be doing resistance training, and that increases our metabolic rate. Now, when we do that, we don't have as much of a metabolism drop because now we're burning more calories, and because we're eating a lot more food, there's no metabolic adaptation to that. So that's one way we can get past it, okay? The biggest problem that people have is they don't want to exercise, and the best way to continue to keep weight off, especially after you've lost a lot of weight, is to exercise, okay? Because your metabolism is much faster and you'll burn more calories. Now, does that mean that you have to go and exercise like an athlete? No. You can go for regular walks in the afternoon, you go to the gym twice a week and you do maybe a full body training program, and that's burning calories, that's retaining muscle mass, and you'll look better in the process. Now, the biggest problem that people have when they do a diet-only approach is most of the time they will lose muscle and fat, okay? But they get to a point where the body doesn't want to really burn much more fat, and so there's a metabolic adaptation, a drop in metabolism. So when you're not doing exercise, you probably won't get as lean, all right? And all those hormones that start to stimulate fat storage will now start to come into play because your body doesn't like to starve, okay? And it's not really starving, but it's got less calories than it's comfortable with, okay? So when we do more exercise, that keeps the metabolic rate high, and we don't have as much of the adaptation lower because of the fact that we're exercising. So just keep that in mind. Weight training, cardio, calorie deficit, it is the gold standard approach to losing body fat. Not losing weight, but losing body fat. Now let's face it, what do we want to do? We don't want to go and lose just weight, we want to lose body fat. People say, oh, muscle's not important to me. Well, it is when you get older and you've got very little muscle and you're not able to walk and you're not able to get out of your chair. Then you'll be wishing you did all that exercise when you can't do it anymore. So the longer we can keep as much muscle as we possibly can, obviously within reason, okay, and not using anabolic steroids or anything like that. But the longer we can keep that muscle, the better for us in the long term to be able to maintain health, lower blood sugar, a faster metabolism, and more potential for fat burning. I hope that explains a lot of things about metabolism. If there's anything that confused you in this video, by all means comment, share anyway, just for the algorithm and also for the fact that you want to see more of my videos. And make sure you follow me so that you get to see more of my content. Have a good afternoon, and I hope you appreciate these videos. Please comment to let me know that you like these videos.